Royce, chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, has called the deal, quote, a dangerous farce, and he joins us now. Mr. Chairman, at some level, the concept that anyone would allow the Iranians to inspect themselves would be laughable if it wasn't so serious.
You know, the administration said this was unprecedented. It is unprecedented in every way, this agreement, because imagine a situation where international inspectors aren't going to do the international inspections, but instead you're going to allow the Iranians to do it. And imagine a situation where you're also lifting the sanctions on Iran with respect to the ballistic missiles, the ICBM system, not just the 300-mile range one that they want to use against Israel when they chant death to Israel, but we're going to lift the sanctions internationally on the ICBMs that they want to use to strike the United States with when they're chanting death to America. To me, it is phenomenal, the decisions this administration has made, and against the advice of 85% of the members of Congress who co-signed my letter to the President saying we want 24-hour inspections anywhere, anytime, and we do not want these sanctions lifted up front, and we do not want the sanctions lifted with respect to the ICBM program.
You brought up a very key number, and that's 85% of Congress who signed on to your letter. The key number, though, is 2/3 of Congress who actually have to vote to uphold a veto override in terms of taking the president on when it comes to this deal. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. The deal goes through. That's 290 votes in the House, 67 votes in the Senate. Do you have those votes?
We're trying to get those votes. You know, right now, a lot of members of the House and the Senate have not told the public where they stand. And we're going to have hearings when we go back into session. I've had 24 hearings so far, but we're going to bring former U.S. generals to explain the consequences to this, to our national security. And I would just remind everyone out there of the words of our Secretary of Defense, who said the I in ICBM stands for intercontinental, which means can fly from Iran to the United States. Just be mindful of the fact that this administration pulled the interceptors out of Poland, out of the Czech Republic, canceled phase 4 of our system. So when ICBMs are the end goal of Iran and we don't have a real verifiable way to make certain they're not cheating on this agreement, this is a risk to the homeland. This is what we're going to be focused on in our upcoming hearings.
What do you make of President Obama's lobbying individual members of Congress and talking about how he'd be willing to have a military option on the table against Iran if they cheat and those kinds of things? Does this kind of presidential lobbying really make a difference, or do you think members are going to be willing to vote their conscience and vote what they think is the right thing rather than vote what may be politically expedient for them?
Well, let me ask you this, in terms of that thought of coming in and trying to leverage now. Why didn't we use that kind of leverage against Iran? When we said in this interim agreement and when we made the representation that we wanted the answers on all 12 questions of their past bomb work because the IAEA have 1,000 pages of documents, when we originally asserted that we were going to talk to their scientists, why can't we have the international inspectors talk to their scientists? Why can't we see their documents? Why can't international inspectors go in to investigate in Parchin? I'd like to see the leverage used against Iran rather than the leverage used against members of Congress. And in the meantime, I would like to see the members of Congress learn more about this agreement. More is tumbling out every day. Why doesn't the administration give us the text of these secret side agreements? That's what I've sent over as a letter to the administration saying, let's see the text of these 2 side agreements that now we're learning about, the secret agreements here.
Well, and as you point out, none of the details that have tumbled out seem to paint a better picture than the one we had the day before they tumbled. Mr. Chairman, appreciate you joining us. I know you got a lot of work ahead as your committee comes back for hearings. We'll look forward to hearing from you.